Good morning, everybody. It's Tony here again with your Daily Tarot. I hope yesterday was a good positive day for you, and I hope today will be a good positive day, even though it's very grey, rainy and windy and cold out there. Today's date is January the 16th, and the 16th card of the Major Arcana is the Tower. As you can see there, the Tower's there with people falling off and a bolt of lightning just right here, by my little finger here. Hitting the side there. And this basically means that everything that you've known up until now is not what it seems, and the situation could be totally different from what you think it is. Old friendship or close friendship you think that were close aren't as close, and that's one of the things. Positive elements with this card include overcoming catastrophe and confronting challenges. That would say if you're in a situation that it's running away from you, to stop it getting worse is you have to cut the cord. Again, I'm saying cut the cord, but stop it in its tracks and face it, and you get it sorted. Otherwise, because it will get sorted, but without your input, so it won't end up in the way that you might want the situation to end up. It will end up. It will change, but whether you instigate that change and want that change is another thing. If you don't want the change, it's going to happen anyway. So might as well just go for the change. It could be a relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be a job, it could be anything like that. Anything, bang. And cautions against rising unjustifiably high. Basically being in a situation that you know that you can't deal with, but still pushing yourself to the extreme, and you're going to have a breakdown or end up losing that situation or the job or whatever. And you just basically have to face it all head on and just say, right, fine, and know your limitations. I keep saying about being positive and think positive things about yourself, but sometimes we do tend to get away with it, go over the top. And but this is basically saying, right, okay, stop it. Basically know your limitations, through personal, through friendships, through relationships and everything. Know that you can't be pushed any further, and get it sorted. And risking destruction at the hands of one's own inventions or succumbing to the lure of fanciful enterprises. When this does come up, I do tend to tell it does tend to come up about some contractual law, about situations that you will have to revert back to the contract that you signed. It could be a year ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, but go back to that contract and read it. And any new contracts that you try and get into, read every single wording. If needs be, get someone in legally to do it for you, because otherwise it is doomed to failure if you don't look into every nook and cranny of any situation that comes your way. Regarding the changes that will happen, inevitably will happen, and this is what this card does show. It shows major changes. It could be from something as not silly, but you know, as moving home, to losing a relationship or a dear close friendship that you thought that you had. People automatically think when they see the Tower and all people falling off, it's going to mean death and everything like that, and destruction and everything. But I've never seen death in any of my cards, physical death in any of the cards, figuratively speaking, of course. That's a totally different thing. When one situation ends and another one begins, there's a little transition in between, like one of the past cards said that about being a transition in between. But with this card, there's no transition. It's basically bang, 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 and will leave you reeling at the end of it all, and you just think, what the heck happened? And but it will happen. But if it has your own input into the changes, then all well and good, because then then you are in control of the changes, but the changes will happen. It's not they may not. These changes definitely will happen, whether for good or ill. They will happen, and this is what you have to remember with this card. It's the Tarot of the Cat people are very in your face anyway. I feel every time I do the readings, I surprise myself at how literal they are and how upfront they are. No wishy-washy or anything like that, even though I try and be a little bit wishy-washy and try and break it gently to the reader, or to the person I'm doing the reading for. These cards sometimes don't let me, and it literally just comes out of my mouth, and sometimes, and then I see the look on the people's face, on the person's face when I do their reading, and I'm thinking, gosh, I should have thought a little bit more and taken a step back a little bit, and then broken it to them gently. But with this card, there's no breaking gently, breaking the situation down gently, because it definitely is going to happen, and complete and sudden change, abandonment of past relationships. If there's people around you from the past, they will walk away from you, and that's I suppose you've heard the saying, oh, you know who your friends are when it comes to a situation, and this is one of those cards. I think this is the only card I have that in my deck that I've seen is like, your true friends will your friends will show their true colours when it comes to a situation, and this is what this card is all about. And it is basically, don't push yourself too much. Don't get bullied into a situation that you know that you can't do, because otherwise you'll end up losing out in the long run. And again, to do with contracts, I feel, you know, succumbing to the lure of fanciful enterprises. Basically, if anybody asks you to do anything with them, to be a partnership, whatever like that, you have to make sure that they have a contract, and you read the contract from page to page, from cover to cover, from the first letter to the last letter, before you even sign it, and even then read it all over again, and then sign it in front of a notary or somebody that's that has a legal background, to make sure that they read it as well. It is one of those cards. It's just basically saying what's your step, and of course, if those changes don't happen, which they will do, but if you don't go with the flow, as it were, you'll just end up in the same situation, but getting worse and worse, and more unhappy, and not knowing which way to go. And basically, instead of digging yourself out of a situation, you're digging the hole even deeper, and you can't even see the light of day in the long run. So the changes will happen, but whether you want them to go your way or not, that is entirely up to you. And we all have a choice. It's like with all the cards, you know, but this is the card is basically saying, no, you have to do the change. But, you know, but the choice is down to the individual if they want to change anyway, because change is scary. It really is scary. And we all know it is scary. So, but yes, so that, even though it shows a lot of dissension amongst the ranks, as it were, with this card, it is it basically is a really good card to show that the changes are happening, whether for good or evil, or bad, as it were. Not evil. I don't believe in the word evil. I believe that people can be evil. I don't think we're born evil. I think we choose our own paths, and we always do. But anyway, so that's enough about me. But this card is can be very, very positive, even though the reading itself is saying, oh, you know, negative, negative, negative. This is going to happen to you. This relationship or this situation is going to break down, and this is what's going to happen to you. Blah blah blah. But in the long run, isn't change positive anyway? Even though it may not seem that way at the very beginning. And of course, with this card, again, and I keep saying this, you change. You be in control of you. You be in control of the changes in your life. this card, regardless if you're in control or not, the changes will happen. So you might as well be in control of the change and get it changed into your way and into your situation. But you have to remember that sticking to the old ways and being in a rut all the time is not the answer, because you can't physically move or emotionally or spiritually move forward if you are in that situation all the time and can't move and don't want to, or don't know which way to turn. The only person that you can ever rely on is yourself. Sometimes you can rely on your friends, but they do show their true colours when it comes to a situation when you need them for situations. And I'm sure we've all been in that situation where friends, when we've been in a situation that we needed people to be there, and the ones that we thought would be there weren't, but yet they are still part of your circle of friends. Maybe it's time to let go of those people, because they may be the ones that are keeping you in the rut and continue to stop you from doing your own thing, or belittling you, or you can't do this, you can't do that because you're married, you're a mother, you've got young children. It doesn't matter. If you really want to do something, you go ahead and do it. If it doesn't work out, at the end of the day, at least you can turn around when you're in the nursing home, as it were. You can at least turn around and say, well, at least I tried. Whereas a lot of people don't like changes around them, and they like their friends to be in certain places and certain situations. They're right, I know where that person is, I know where that person is. But this card is just basically saying, if you've got people like that around you, let them go and let them do their own thing, and then you carry on and do your own thing. And I think that is, even though it's an ominous card, there is a positive thing out of it. And that's it for today. So I shall speak to you tomorrow about the next card, which is January the 17th. And the next card is wonderful, wonderful card. Okay, then speak to you soon. Goodbye.